Welcome to Market Call. David Burrows is on our show today, President and Chief Investment Strategist at Barometer Capital Management, one of our long-time guests. Always great to have him here. He'll take your calls, emails and tweets on North American large caps, the big US stocks in Canada and the States. Call us toll free, 1-855-326-6266, or send an email to marketcall@bnnbloomberg.ca. David, great to see you.
Great to be here.
Let's have a look at the old one-year chart for the S&P 500, because, I mean, the market was in that precipitous sell-off in late 2018. There's been a pretty substantial bounce back here. The techs, for example, coming roaring back.
It was a very, very challenging year for a lot of people, because every year there's some kind of a sell-off, some bigger than others. But, you know, there's only one other year in 50 years where you had two sell-offs in one year, like we did January, February, and then in the fall. And that was 1994. And it was a mid-cycle slowdown. It was a bull market correction. And despite being incredibly frustrating, the following year was up 38%. As the economy slowed down, but it got built in through the course of the year in 94. And I think last year was much like the same type of event.
So Natixis is out with an analysis of multi-asset funds multi-strategy funds across the industry, and many of them have struggled over the past year. I mean, looking at your own global macro fund, the latest numbers I have from your website, down 33% in a year. So that's been tough.
That fund was up just over 17 a year over 7 years. And last year was very, very difficult because it's what I would call a whipsaw year. Big down, big up, big down, big up, and we used stop losses. We got stopped out of a bunch of things, and it was I would say the most difficult year I've been through.
Your Barometer equity pool down 26% over a year. Similar story?
Yeah, very, very, very difficult year all the way around. And in the end of the day, I think that there isn't a manager that hasn't had a difficult year. I don't think we are permanently stupid. But a very difficult year.
Just to press you, obviously those numbers did underperform the market. The TSX down something like 3% in the year to the end of January. So those two funds did underperform the equities.
They got really hurt, and you know, there's a number of reasons. First of all, being stopped out on a number of those sort of whipsaw moves. Second thing is our focus is on structural long-term themes, and the leadership themes definitely took it a lot harder than, say, the defensive sectors, and that had a big impact. But in the end of the day, what I learned in 1994 was in the second sell-off not to get too aggressive on the sell side, because the recovery comes so quick.
Right.
And you get this last precipitous move down, which happened to be right into year end, and then a sharp move going the other way. And so that is playing out. And I think that ultimately, if you look at it, of the 14 bull market corrections since 1950, on average, the move from the lows of those corrections, which average about 19%, averaged about a 90% rise before the next correction over an average of 30 months and about 6 months back to break even. And of course, the leadership groups come back much quicker, as they are right now.
Yes.
So, right or wrong, we made a call to say, let's stay with these positions into year end. And now they're rallying back quickly, so we'll see how this year goes.
And often the worst thing to do, of course, is to abandon your strategy after a sell-off, and then you see,
Well, so Andy, in the month of December, and this is an amazing statistic, everybody tried to get out the door at the same time. There was $100 billion of outflows from equity funds, which dwarfs the worst 4-week period in 2008. So if you went back 100 years,
it's interesting, isn't it?
You don't see that repeat right after it's happened.
And then, of course, Christmas Eve, that famous bottom, and it was a great time to be buying stocks. That's right. David Burrows is our guest today, President and Chief Investment Strategist at Barometer Capital Management. He's answering your questions on North American large caps. Give us a call, 1-855-326-6266.